Hi there, hello friends. So today I'm continuing with the series about how you can use your home to make small changes to your home that will help you to develop the habits that you would like to develop so that you can live a better life. And I've been giving some examples of eco habits that you could adopt and how you could make changes with your home to help support those eco habits. Last week I covered 5 habits, and this week I've got another 5 eco habits that you may like to adopt within your life so that you can do your bit to protect the planet. And these are some ideas for how you could adapt your home so that you can be supported in your approach, your dreams, your aspirations to live a more eco-friendly life. So this series was inspired by an interview that I saw with James Clear, who wrote a book called Atomic Habits. And it sounds like a really interesting book. I must admit, I haven't read the book. I just watched an interview with him. And what struck me was his suggestions that changes in your environment can help you to make your habits easier to take on. So putting fewer steps between you and the good behaviours that you want to adopt, and putting more steps between you and the bad behaviours that you want to stop doing. That was the basic crux of it. But I've got some more detailed ideas. Firstly, for 5 different habits that are going to help you live a more eco-friendly life and will have a real impact on the planet in a positive way. And then what you could do at home to make that possible. So first of all, if you've not seen me before, I'm Jane. I am a chartered architect and I am the founding director of iArchitect. I specialise in helping homeowners of period property with potential to turn them into really comfortable homes that suit a modern lifestyle, maintain their original character and protect the planet. So, what eco habits would you like to incorporate into your life? I'd love to know if there's anything that you're trying to do right now, and perhaps you would like to have some ideas for what you could do to your home to help make it easier for you to do those. Drop any comments write anything in the comments below about what sort of eco habits you either are adopting or would like to adopt, and I'll come in and look at those for you, give you some ideas of what you could do. So the first eco habit that I would like to look at today is to drive less or use more sustainable transport. So transport is the biggest percentage of the UK's energy use, and if we were all able to do our bit to reduce the amount of energy intensive transport that we use, then we would be really contributing to the UK reducing our energy use. So obviously the 2 biggest most sustainable ways of getting around are to walk or to cycle. And then there are a range of other things that you can do. But things that you can do to your home, or choices that you can make with your home that can help you to minimise your more sort of energy intensive transport use, are firstly to select the location of your home really carefully. So if you live near really good public transport, or also if you live within walking distance of places that you would typically want to go to, whether that's supermarkets or cafes or libraries and schools, workplaces, living close to the places that you would spend the most time and want to travel to the most, and or if not really close to them, then somewhere where you've got a really good public transport network to them or a good cycle pathway. So the location of your home really is the most impactful and critical in terms of helping support you choose better, more eco-friendly modes of transport. So if you're then starting to, different ways that you can start to incorporate those modes of transport. So for example, cycling. Cycling is is a really good way to travel actually quite far distances. And okay, we don't have brilliant weather right now. It's raining outside, which is why it's a little bit dull in here today. And that's quite common. But as long as you've got, you know, waterproof clothes, you can still cycle. You can still get to where you want to go quite comfortably. So having your having dry or wet weather appropriate clothing and having that stored near your cycling stuff, and having the ability to be able to dry that off as well. So making that sort of space within your home or within a garage next to your home, that will help you to be able to cycle. Now, another thing that people are, you know, getting a nicer bike that's easier and more comfortable to cycle is also beneficial. You may also then want to make sure that the storage that you have for your bike is really secure. So looking at good locks, good doors, maybe a CCTV system, maybe what's the word? A sensor-based security cameras or security lights, and also making sure that you can get in and out really easily with your bike, so it's not like struggling to get past other things to get in and out, which will then create a barrier and maybe make you less willing to get your bike out in the first place. So make it really easy to get your bike in and out, make it really secure so you can have a better quality bike that you're more confident is not going to go walk about without your permission, and having the ability to store appropriate clothing and dry it and treat it, and then maybe also carry out simple repairs to your bike to make sure that it is still operating really well. So that is a good way for you to improve your chances of using your bike. So secondly, walking. I mean, walking is possibly the best way to get around, really. And again, you want to make sure that you've got appropriate clothing and footwear for the weather. And I would say that you want to make sure that you've got space quite close to your front door, or whichever door it is that you usually use to go in and out of your home, where you can store a range of different shoes and a range of different coats, so that it's easy for you to select the right one just as you're going out the door. And if you pop your head out and you find actually it's a bit wetter or a bit colder than you thought it was, it's not such a big deal for you to just hop back inside, grab a different coat or change your shoes. So having cloakroom type space near your main entrance is really useful for that. Having also somewhere that you can easily sit down, take your shoes on and off, and also having a kind of an intermediary kind of space, a porch type of space, whether that's completely enclosed or whether that's just a roof over you, so that you can step out of your door and you can kind of assess the situation, and you've got this sort of intermediary space where you can kind of have second thoughts, prepare yourself and get yourself ready to go, so that it's less of a shock to the system that you've gone straight from inside to outside, and you've got this slightly more gradual change can really help you to make that process an enjoyable one and one that you're more likely to do. You could look at if car is your main thing, you really need a car. Maybe the location of your home is not perfect in terms of public transport, and it's not close enough for you to walk or cycle to places that you need to go, so you need to be able to drive. Then maybe you're able to get an electric car, and in that case you're going to need to have a way of charging your electric car. So you can look at things like photovoltaic systems, and also a powering up point, a plug basically for your car that you can use, so you've got that ability to have an electric car. So that's my ideas in terms of what you could do to help you use more sustainable forms of transport. Obviously, going and getting on a tram or a train or whatever, bus maybe. I personally don't like buses, but obviously that's an option. You know, those are going to be the better ways than driving. And of course, if you can holiday without having to fly, that again, it's flying is one of the biggest uses of energy. And so until they can kind of come up with much more energy efficient ways of flying, it's much better to avoid flying altogether if you can. So the second eco-friendly habit that you may be looking to take on board is to use less energy, and particularly to use less electricity. So some easy ways really to do this are to swap your appliances for more energy efficient versions. So you're going to be automatically, without having to think about it, you turn on your microwave, or you have your fridge running, you turn on your washing machine or your tumble dryer, dishwasher, whatever it is, and automatically, with no effort at all on your part, it is automatically using less energy than a less efficient version. One thing that you could do, and it's something that's not really done a whole lot, maybe it's a little bit of an out there kind of an idea, but you could have a circuit with a lot of your sockets on that has an override switch, and you could place that override switch, say, somewhere near the bottom of your stairs or somewhere near your front door, so that when you're going up to bed, you can switch that override switch off. Or if you're going out to go out the door and leave the home, you can turn that switch off, and it overrides automatically all of the sockets that are on that circuit and basically turns everything off. That would include anything that was sort of just plugged in on standby, anything that you don't really need to be on while you're out of the house. So for example, maybe your Wi-Fi router, all those sorts of things that, you know, you just generally might be just running away in the background and you actually don't need them on. You could just have an override switch set up so that you can just turn that off and everything goes off without with very little effort. I mean, it's obviously much more effort to be going around to all your plug sockets and pulling out all your phone chargers and turning everything off standby, taking all the plugs out of everything. That's a much bigger task than if you can literally just set up your electric system so that you can just flip a switch and that's everything off automatically. That would be a really good way to very easily make it. It might be a little bit more complicated to actually get that set up, and obviously you will need an electrician who can certify the work, because it's a building control regulated piece of work to mess around with your electrical circuits. But once that's done, then it would be so easy just to turn that socket off, and that would really make your life easier and make it so much more doable for you to have that eco-friendly habit. When you're looking at sort of reconfiguring your home or making changes to your home that are more of a structural nature, then make sure that you have got enough windows or roof lights so that you're getting lots of natural light, and that will mean that you're much less likely to need to turn on a light so that you can see well enough to do things. And so another thing you can do is make spaces that are typically dark used for activities where you don't need a lot of daylight. So for example, maybe to sleep in, maybe to do things that you're working away maybe with a screen and you don't need to look at other things, perhaps like home cinema type rooms, anything where you don't need a lot of bright enough task lighting, because there's nothing that you need to really see very much to do, just enough light maybe to be able to walk around. But if you're looking for space which is plenty light enough, then try to maximize the natural light that you'll get from outside, because that way, obviously not the case once it goes dark and it's nighttime, obviously you're going to need to turn lights on then, but during the day you want to be able to, as little as possible, have to turn a light on. It's also a lot nicer to live in a space that's got more natural daylight. So let me know in the comments below if you're planning to make any changes to your home so that you can live in a more planet-friendly, eco-friendly way. I'd love to know what you're planning to do. So my third habit is to use less energy and particularly to use less gas. Now, domestic heating is pretty much the second